Here we are, man. Back at the end of another year, man. It's the end of 2023. And if you saw that title, you saw that thumbnail, you already know what we're doing today. We're gonna be recapping our full year of 2023. And if you're new to the channel, welcome. My name is David Allen. I'm a professional architect designer, as well as a bodybuilder and athlete. And I know those don't never really go together like that. You don't see that too often, but that's what makes this channel unique. Also, if you're someone who's not new to the channel, you've been around the block for a little minute, then you already know that we did this back in 2022, where I recapped the full year, letting y'all know everything that happened in that year. So we're gonna be doing the same thing today. That's kind of my goal with this channel, is that at the end of every year, I always wanna recap everything that's went on. It's kind of gonna give this, channel for myself, basically gonna be like a time capsule of everything that has happened in my life. So we're about to dive into it, man. Let's go. All right, so I got my notes here, and we're basically gonna have like three categories to this video, if you will. So we're gonna talk about architecture, we're gonna talk about fitness, and then we're gonna talk about personal things as well that all happened within my year. For me personally, 2023 definitely was a year that focused a lot on architecture and my career and my journey as a professional. So we're gonna start off with that and then work our way down to fitness and then personal. But let me first off say, I ain't even gonna lie, 2023 definitely did not go as I planned it. When I had, my dreams and my goals or my dream board and my vision board and everything that I was planning to set out to do, not everything happened like it was supposed to, but it's all good. Some things did happen and some things didn't. That's just how the nature of, life goes. All right, so we're gonna start off with architecture first. So one of the big goals that I set out for myself for this year, and I knew it was gonna take a majority of my focus, was getting into this leadership program named Christopher Kelly Leadership Development Program. It was started after this man, Christopher Kelly, who lost his life early in life as a young architect up in Washington, D.C. Whenever he lost his life, he was also a Young Architect of the Year, I think back in 2010. Don't quote me on that, but he lost his life early in life, and that AIA chapter in Washington, D.C. decided to start this program dedicated in his memory, as well as, and this program is basically dedicated to creating leaders within the space of architecture, right? So this is a 9-month program. We have boot camp in January, and then following the next month, we have a break, and then we start in March, going from March until October, and there's a session every month where we, as the scholars, there's 16 scholars, so every year only 16 people out of every chapter get chosen to be a part of the program for the year, and they become, I guess, the class. We're called scholars, right? So this year I had the honor of being one of the 16 scholars for the AIA Colorado chapter, which has been established for quite some time now. They've been, I think, around since about 2016, so quite a few years. Some other chapters are starting up as well, so it's not all in all 50 states, but if you're lucky, some chapters have been established within the United States. So again, I had the privilege of being a part of this, and basically what happens in this 9-month or 8-month, however long it is really more like 8 sessions. So because there's 16 scholars, so 2 scholars get paired together and they work together and have a session once a month that is dedicated to a certain, I guess, topic, if you will. So we had sustainability, we had entrepreneurship, we had mentorship, we had community and development. Mine was a very broad topic, but it was on the future of architecture, where I was able to, me and my partner, or my other partner, who's also a scholar, Seth, we were paired together for the final session, which was the future of architecture. And we had the honor of bringing in some really cool people within the area of Colorado who are doing some great things from an entrepreneurial standpoint, from developers to business owners to even my boss, who came and gave the last talk. And she really talked about her journey as she started her own business where I work at now rolling in Broughton, if you don't know that. So I was extremely honored to be a part of this program for the year, because as for myself, I'm an inspiring leader. I choose to go first. I choose to want to be the person who leads the pack. I am always striving to be better, and this program really fit with a lot of my own personal goals for my professional journey in my career. And I was really in alignment with a lot of the other scholars who were in this program with me. And it really allowed me to create this kind of network of other like-minded architects and entrepreneurs within the space. And I'm extremely grateful for that. I'm going to be throwing clips in here. I'm sure they've been passing by of just our journey together with the other 16 people or 15 other people I was with. And it was an amazing time. I mean, every, session we had was just top notch, inspiring. You never left. Our sessions was on Fridays. So it was Fridays and it was normally the full afternoon. So we started at around 11, ended at 5 for a little happy hour after that. But that whole entire session, the speakers that we brought in, talking on, public speaking skills, contracts and negotiations, things like that, all kinds of things that, us as architects, kind of struggle with at times or just really want to learn from each other with. And this program was amazing for it. I highly recommend it for all my other architecture friends out there. Look into your, local AIA chapters if they have it. Definitely try and get in that. If they don't, maybe, be one of those inspiring architects that starts the chapter where you're at. So, but I can't say enough about that program. And again, like I said, this was most of the year. This took up most of my energy throughout half of the year. We didn't end until October. This started in January. So a lot of my focus was architecture heavy, of course. Another thing that I'm super proud of that I did this year was I became more active in the NOMA chapter here in Colorado. NOMA stands for National Organization of Minority Architects. I was a part of the student organization, NOMAs, back when I was in school. And if you already know if you know me personally, you already know that NOMAs was very much like a personal family away from home. Whenever I went to school, I was really one of the only people out of my friend group that came from high school and went to college at UL. So I felt lonely a little bit, just not having, family essentially there. But NOMAs, really became that for me. So whenever I became a professional architect, I definitely wanted to, I definitely wanted to become more involved in the NOMA chapter as well. Because again, it's just that family away from home. So one thing that I'm super proud of that I did this year was that I attended the NOMA conference this year in Portland. And if you haven't, go watch that video. I did a video of just like vlogging my whole time there in Portland, and it was a homecoming. I titled it, a homecoming in Portland, and it really was that. It was so nice to just be around a bunch of other, like-minded, individuals that look like me, and also being inspired by all of the work that other professional architects, minority architects to be exact, are doing out in this space, from development to owning their own firms to also just like positions of leadership within their own spaces. So it was just super inspiring. I mean, just the friendships and the connections that I made, it was amazing. And I can't wait till next year to go to the next conference. It's gonna be in Baltimore, Maryland, and y'all already know it's going down. We already been saying it. We definitely gonna get some crab legs. We gotta have some crabs. So definitely looking forward to the next one and the next one. I honestly, it was so impactful for me that I don't wanna miss another conference whenever it comes around. So every year I'm gonna make a huge effort to make sure that I'm able to attend. So, it only happens once a year, so you don't want to miss out. And another thing that was big for me, or a big impact for me from the conference, was seeing people who had been licensed or got licensed within the past year getting pinned at the conference. There's a kind of a ceremony that happens on like the second day. Basically, during that meeting at the end, they pin all of the newly licensed architects for the past year. So that was just like super inspiring me, just seeing and hearing some of these people's stories of like all of what they've had to go through just to get to this point of being licensed. If you don't know, to be a licensed architect, to call yourself legally call yourself an architect, you have to pass these 6 exams, ARE. And basically once you pass those, you can legally call yourself an architect in whichever state that you choose to be licensed in. And it was just super inspiring hearing some of these people literally had like 10 years of just like, failure and X, Y, and Z, and just to see them come out on the other side of triumph, and it was just amazing. And it really inspired me to, really start looking into studying for my own exams and, becoming licensed, within the next at least 3 to 5 years or so. But I don't want to put a cap, I don't want to put a time frame on it. We'll see what happens. And the last thing I'll talk about really with, the architecture side, again, like I said, architecture was a big focus for me this year with, Christopher Kelly, with me also being more involved with the NOMA chapter here. I don't think I spoke on it yet, but for the NOMA chapter here, I was a tri-chair, if you will. There's 3 of us that were the chairs of the membership committee. So we had, bi-monthly meetings. We called it like members and friends, where we, had a local firm host a meeting for the month or whatever. So we'd all come together, talk about what we're doing, just, have some, I guess, happy hour and good vibes within one another and within the chapter that's here. It's very new. I think we're about 3 years old now, so still growing and still, creating something special here in Colorado. So it was amazing just being a part of the membership committee and being able to be a part of, welcoming new people into the NOMA family, right? So yeah, that was really impactful, really, something that I loved focusing on this year was the architecture side of things. So, and the last thing I'll speak on is just my job itself. So I work at Roland & Brown, and we work, but most of our work is custom residential homes, high-end residential homes. We have a studio here in Denver and a studio also in Aspen. And one thing for me personally this year was a lot of growth in my position at R&B as I have really grown into more of a role of like a project architect, having to, manage more of other team members, collaborating with other team members, collaborating with consultants and things like that. And it has been very challenging. I can't speak and say that I'm just like, passing with flying colors and things like that. But, I like the challenge. Challenge is only what's going to help you grow and become a better person. So I've been embracing it, although, definitely a lot of stuff is new to me, and new things definitely kind of wake up a little fear in you. But once you get on the other side of it, it definitely you find that it wasn't that big of a deal when you were first approaching it. So I'm finding that in my new journey as I continue to grow there at R&B and grow in my position and get more responsibility. So that was one thing that was big this year, was just getting more responsibility with my job and learning. We call it managing up, but really just making sure that I'm anticipating and helping out my project managers as best as possible and doing my job to the best of my ability. So that's one thing I'm very proud of that I've done this year, and I'm going to continue to do in the years and years to come. But a lot of growth there this year for sure. All right, that was a lot on architecture. So we're gonna go into fitness now. I told y'all like this year was definitely a lot of focus on architecture for myself and just growth within my professional career. But that wasn't all we did. We still did some fitness things as well. So we're gonna dive into that a little bit right now. And one thing that one of my biggest, I guess, accomplishments or personal accomplishments for myself that I would say that happened this year in 2023, that I did a cut for the first time. Honestly, in my whole life, I've never really, like I've said, in a previous video of like the good and bad of cutting or dieting, if you will, that I came from a very like skinny background. I was, a skinny kid growing up. So I never had the problem of having like a lot of fat and having to cut down early on. I've always been active, always playing sports and things like that, and being active in the gym. But, since COVID and things like that, definitely, picked up a little bit more weight than I was like comfortable with, if you will. So this year I decided, let's go ahead and cut, and let's see what I can do. Let's see how far I can get down. What can I really, do I have the discipline and the mindset to really, get this done? And I did. I accomplished the goal of just getting down to, I think, around 7% body fat, which was nice, like 7-8% body fat. I think I ended up at around, the final weight was about 205 at the end, at the very end. But to say that I did it all on my own, from, the meal prepping to, the countless hours of, cardio and things like that, it was rough. It was definitely rough. It had a, effect on my, mental health a little bit, just being a little more cranky than normal and things like that. But I'm extremely happy that I did it, and I think it's opened doors to other things that I want to do. We'll speak on that in other videos or whatever, but I think it's opened my mind to being willing to do some other things in the fitness space. So, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. And another thing I'll say really with the cut is that I started in like March 1st is like when I started, just like with being more serious about just like what I was eating and like doing cardio and things like that at night. So like doing like 2-a-days, but it didn't really get like super serious until January. So I would say like the official like really hard cut of me like, you know, going to do like cardio like 6 days a week, things like that did not happen. And then me also being really diligent about my eating didn't really happen until June. So from June to September was really the time where I was like really hard down cutting. But overall, still a great year, just in terms of like personal growth with like, I guess my own body, if you will. So from there, we also did we switched to a push-pull leg split in the middle of the year around August, which was also challenging. You know, that's basically like, you know, 6 days on, 1 day off. So I did push-pull legs, and then push-pull legs again. It never really felt like that. Normally it was like push-pull legs, push, legs, pull, just because I didn't really want to do legs on Saturdays. That's just me personally. But so yeah, we did that, and then we also got into the boxing space a little bit this year. Like, so I found this gym. You already know this is where I always train at, A1 Boxing, right there in Aurora. It has been great. The family there, the people I've met, they've all been super helpful, super, you know, I've been coachable. The coaches there have been super friendly and very attentive to detail and helping me in my growth. And from where I started to where I'm at now is definitely, you know, not a night and day difference, but I've definitely seen a lot of progress. I think I would see more progress if I went more often, but I just love the gym too much to like put more effort into the boxing just yet. But overall, I have loved the journey of just learning something new. I often call it, you know, physical chess, if you will, and learning the combos, learning, you know, how you want your opponent to react to certain punches and things like that. It's been great, and I'm very much looking forward to continuing my journey with boxing and seeing, you know, where it leads to. Who knows? Maybe I will eventually do some amateur fights and stuff like that. At the end of the day, I'm an athlete, and I aspire to always, you know, get better and learn something new. So we'll see what happens in that space. And then I can't say enough about the IG Reels. You already know we continued that into this year as well. Just we're continuing to bring y'all content from that space, as I know a lot of y'all follow me on Instagram. If y'all don't, follow me at DJ_Allen6. So follow me there if you want like more weekly content on, you know, just workouts, workout tips, workout tutorials, exercise tutorials, all things like that. Definitely tap in with me on that space. So we got that. And then also another one of the goals that I really hit this year was also bringing out more like full gym workouts, like some more full gym workout content from the gym. So things like that. If you've noticed, like towards the end of the year for sure, that I've just been starting to bring y'all more like full workouts within the gym, as before it'll be a lot more, you know, exercise tutorials and things like that, and I would only be able to really bring y'all like maybe like a full gym workout if somebody was there to hold the camera and things like that. But we fixed all that. We got, you know, a tripod now, so like y'all are able to get more of me and more workout breakdowns from me when it comes to that. It's like for the full workouts and getting more into my mindset when I'm working out. Excuse me. And getting more into my mindset of when I'm working out. So. And then another thing, y'all already know, we upgraded the camera this year. So I got this 50mm f.18 camera lens right here. And hey, I ain't gonna lie. The videos this thing captures right here, top tier. So I'm definitely looking forward to bringing y'all more content with this lens and just bringing y'all more, you know, really clear content. I very much love the space of videography and bringing, you know, really clean, crisp videos to y'all. So and I love editing and things like that. So I like to, you know, challenge myself and, you know, with editing skills and things like that. So we're definitely gonna be putting this baby to the test in the new year. Y'all already seen, if y'all follow me on Instagram, the Swole Santa series, we did that with this, and hey, things was clean. Things were real clean. So definitely gonna be bringing more of that in the new year with some full, you know, workouts in the gym and things like that. The only thing with this lens is just like it's a prime lens, so that means it's fixed. So I mean, I can't zoom in and zoom out. So in the gym, like the full gym, because it's a 50mm, like sometimes this thing gotta be like across the gym, like way over there, bro. So like, in order to just get a clean shot for y'all. So just weren't learning the ropes with that stuff like that, but definitely look forward to the new year and some really clean content coming from me. So yeah, that kind of takes us through, you know, the architecture and the fitness side. So now we're going to talk a little bit more on the personal side, and then I'm going to send y'all on y'all way. All right, so now as we dive into the personal side of things, I mentioned in the beginning of the video that, you know, a lot of things didn't go as planned. There's a lot of goals that I had for the year didn't really work out like I thought they would, or they just, you know, kind of fell through. Things like the You Are Loved program, like that kind of took a halt in a way. Not that I wanted it to, just other like external factors happened with that. So it just didn't fall through like it was supposed to, or like I was planning to for the year. So hoping that in 2024 we can kind of change some things and have the program continue like I envision it to. So we'll see what happens with that, but I'm not gonna speak too much on that. We're gonna go on to the next one. Also, I didn't read that much this year. Like I remember last year I did the whole like top books of 2022 or whatever, and like I read a bunch. But this year, I don't know what it was, but I guess it was like just because I was so focused on like the Christopher Kelly program and other things like that, and architecture focus, that I just didn't have time to really put that much energy, I guess, into reading as I did in the past year. Really, the main book that I read this year was the Bible. Like that's one thing I definitely was like reading, you know, constantly throughout the year. And I still love that, but hoping that in the next year I can probably get back into reading books like I was reading before. So we'll see what happens. And another thing that was, I guess, a goal, not really a goal, but the word of the year for 2023 for me, it was impact. And I feel like God had spoke to me that the word was going to be impact, right? But it was not the way in which I thought impact was going to be. I thought, you know, when he was telling me, you know, it's impact, I was thinking like, oh snap, we're going to grow. We're going to like, you know, we're going to get more followers. We're going to get like more numbers on X, Y, and Z. And we're going to just make more of a bigger impact in that way. But oddly enough, it wasn't that. It wasn't, you know, impact in terms of numbers and growth and like that, and growth. But it was more so just learning what is impact in a way. This might not make sense. I'm still trying to process it myself, but more so just like what is true impact. So I think I put this on Threads a while back or whatever. If I find the thread, I'll put it on here. But it was more so just focusing on more of the relationships that I have in person rather than the connections I'm making through like social media and things like that. So in a way, it's like more so just not necessarily trying to skip steps to like this large community, but really putting my focus and energy into those, you know, few people that do tap in, you know, on a regular, those people that do hit me up and be like, hey man, I just saw your video, I just did your workout, like that was dope, man, keep it going. Things like, you know, man, I just watched one of your videos that motivated me, I'm gonna go to the gym today. Things like that, those small interactions is what I would say was the impact that I think God was really trying to get me to notice. I think he was really trying to get me to, you know, be present in the moment in my journey right now and where I'm at in this, you know, kind of fitness space before really trying to jump to that next level and like that big level that I might have been, you know, inspiring to get to. And of course we still want to get there, but I think God was really just trying to pump the brakes and help me realize what I'm doing right now with the people that do follow me. So I'm extremely grateful for that at the end of the day. And another thing I had to kind of realize this year with, you know, 2023 was that I had to give God control. And what I mean by that is that I found that although I'm always saying, you know, this channel is dedicated to, not dedicated, but this channel, I'm allowing God to do whatever he wants with this channel, to take it where it wants to go or where it needs to go, and to impact the people that it needs to. I'm here to obey his word and obey his will and fulfill my purpose through the platform, right? So with that, I found that the Holy Spirit kind of talked to me kind of midway through this year that, you know, was still trying to hold on to full control or control of certain things with the channel in terms of like views and things like that. And I had to learn, and it started to have more of a negative impact on me and affecting me in a way of just like kind of being in that super grind mode of just like, gotta do it, gotta do this, gotta do that, gotta push this, gotta push that. And I had to learn, I think the Holy Spirit just eventually said like, when are you gonna give me control of this? Like, I will give you peace, I will give you rest. And I had to learn that I had to set aside my own personal grip that I had on, I guess, the channel, if you will. So, and if you kind of been around this whole year, you probably noticed that like the views have kind of dropped in a way, and that's more so just, again, for me, like letting go of control and allowing him to work freely through the space, regardless of me trying to control everything else that's going on around it. So things like that I had to learn, and I'm not gonna lie, it was tough. Definitely, like after a while, it just became a little discouraging. But I had to learn that, you know, this is, you know, it's all part of a journey, and that I'm still at the beginning of this journey, that I still have a long ways to go. So looking forward to what happens in 2024, but definitely some lessons learned in that side, in that space. And then another thing I'll talk about, you know, is the Bible. So if you saw the last video that I did on how I stay spiritually fit, I talked about the Bible and like the Daily Walk Bible. And again, I would say this year, you know, we read the whole Bible again this year. But one thing that we did with, another thing that we did, and I talked about this in the video. So if you want, just go back and watch the Grab Your Weapon video, and you'll kind of hear more on that of what I was talking about. But one thing I did this year was I put in my phone, you know, amazing scriptures that really spoke to me and spoke to my soul and to my spirit as I was reading the Bible this year. So of course, you know, I've highlighted my Bible backwards and frontwards. Like, this is like the second year that I've done this, like 2.5, because I got the Bible like in the middle of like 2020 or 2021. So 2021, read it at the end of that year, read the full Bible 2022, and then again this year. So about 2.5 years of just like highlighting and reading the Bible like backwards and frontwards from year to year. But this year I wanted to really focus on like some of those scripture pieces that really speak to me on my own, you know, personal journey and faith walk, if you will. So with that, I started putting, you know, those amazing Bible scriptures within my, you know, phone. So that way I just have something that I can constantly look at day to day without having to have my Bible on me, that I could just remind myself of just God's amazing word, his promises, things like that. So I'm super proud of that. And I think that eventually, once I still have a few more books to go through in the Bible to just like add to my phone. But once that's done, I think I'm gonna print it out and just have it to be something that sits on my desk from day to day as well. So super proud of that. But another thing that I'm gonna be doing in the new year is I'm also gonna be moving on to the Message version. So I'm gonna start reading another version of the Bible and just kind of immersing myself in another translation, if you will, of the Bible. And I've heard the Message version is pretty good. I've seen, you know, a couple of scriptures just from like church and from pastor, just quoting them or referencing them. So I'm looking forward to just reading that translation and how it differs from the new Living Translation that I've been reading. And another thing, I know this video is a recap of 2023, but one thing I'll say for 2024, I definitely am planning to be more of in a Bible study mentality of really just not necessarily trying to read the full Bible within 1 year, but really focusing on certain passages that I find, you know, interesting, that I really want to dive deeper into and learn the meaning of it, like learn what God is trying to speak to me through the passage. So in the following year, in 2024, we're going to definitely focus more in on just really diving into those certain scripture pieces and like what they mean. And the last thing I'll say, you know, just was one of the biggest, you know, I talked about it earlier when I was talking about just like giving control over to God and impact and the meaning of that for me. But one thing I'll also say is that I had kind of like realization, if you will, of the fact that I get to do this as a blessing. Like, God has blessed me with the ability and the opportunity and the platform to bring this content to the world, to you, to everyone that watches. So I am extremely grateful of that. I can't thank you all enough who watch my videos, who tap in with me, who, you know, send me messages and things like that. It's amazing. It helps keep me going, because at times it definitely gets, you know, a little discouraging, like if I should be just putting my time and effort into something else. But I think I'm right where God wants me to be, and I think that the future is very bright for me in this platform, in this space, and just what God wants to do with me in my life, even outside of YouTube and outside of, you know, fitness and architecture. I think the future is very bright, and I have faith that, you know, I am fulfilling God's purpose for my life, day in and day out, year after year. So cheers to another year, 2023, of, you know, growing from, you know, all of the struggles, the downsides, to all the ups and the highs, the lows and the highs, all those things. Like, it was a good year. It definitely had its challenges, but I think we came out on top again, which is always what you want to do. You want to finish on top and dwell more on the positive rather than the negative. We talked about that before. But I'm ready to go into 2024 with the momentum that we have had throughout this whole year in this space. I'm looking forward to seeing, you know, where this channel and where, you know, all of my different platforms, you know, start to take me. And yeah, we'll see what happens, you know. And I know this video is supposed to be primarily focused on 2023 and everything that happened in there, but I will say, you know, in 2024, I got some big things planned. And one thing I'll say, you've heard me say it in, you know, some other videos about doing a bodybuilding show. And I think if everything falls into place like it's supposed to, I have some things that are gonna be planned in like the beginning of the year that's gonna have my kind of like my schedule a little fluctuating and things like that. And I don't want to be trying to prep for a show while all of those things are happening. But once things start to settle down, if there's time, we will be doing a show. So y'all stay tuned. We'll see what happens. Of course, I'm gonna be doing like a whole like series on it. If it does happen, I'm gonna do the whole lead up to the show and things like that. But that's one thing I'll say about what's gonna happen in 2024. But we're gonna have another video of, you know, starting off the 2024 year with a bang and things that I got planned for that. But there you have it, man. That is the full 2023 recap, man. I appreciate y'all watching this video. If y'all tapped in this long, again, like I said, this is gonna be like, you know, those time capsule videos for me from year to year, you know, 2022, 2023, 2024, and so on. You know, I feel like this will be something that I can always look back on and just see, you know, the personal growth. It's one of those things that, you know, when that time does come and I do make it or whatever, people will definitely see that it was not an overnight success. You'll be able to go back and watch these recap videos and see that I really was grinding from year to year, and I did have, you know, some struggles and challenges and things like that, just like everybody does. But I think these, you know, transparent videos are very important for just letting everyone know that, you know, things are not always, you know, peaches and cream. Things are not always, you know, happy-go-lucky, you know, positive vibes all the time. You know, things happen. Life be lifing, like we said. So again, with all that being said, man, I appreciate y'all tapping in. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, and we out, man. Stay prayed up. Let's get it.